It's a way to reinforce myself. It's a way to maintain reality. They're gonna do their thing, and they're gonna have these gimmicks trying to gaslight me. I don't think they're paid actors, but they're paid, or let me just say this: they're tasked to behave a certain way. Right now I'm hearing somebody say, "You're a liar, you're a liar," trash us, and they do that in the hallways. Now it's clear that their job is to make me internalize this manipulation. And some of them are like childish. I keep bringing that up, but this is, of course, the participant, this acting, these gigs, these participants come in all ages and all races and all genders. But what I'm hearing very much for the childish trash. And by the way, this childish individual saying that she expect me to just like be subscriptive of it, huh? She expect me to like let that happen. Like she really don't, in her mind she doesn't, she thinks she's being very good at just like making me internalize that when we face each other she be, oh my gosh, I love the girls. Like I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, no. Instead of the opposite. But I do really like, I keep saying that I do really, really want them to not try this in front of me. I'm curious to see how I'm gonna react. No matter who does this thing, I've accepted that. Okay, these are not regular kids that are doing this. They're the negators. They're these participants. Should not be perceived as innocent children. They should be perceived for what they're truly part of. And even going further than that, thinking that childishness can negate and make me subscribe to that. What you're seeing here is the typical things. Somebody brings up pictures of her when she was a kid. I saw the first picture, I closed my eyes immediately, because immediately what they're gonna do is they're gonna manipulate my brain to have sexual stimulation, and then they're gonna send these little gimmicks, this trash, who are participating in gaslighting. Some people call them like, paid actors. They're not the actors in the sense of like they're professional actors. They're participating in acting a certain way. They know the job. What I'm gonna do when they manipulate him, I'm gonna go. It's like, no, that's you, a little girls. You're a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar. Or with me, what they do is like, no, that's abuse. You use her hand. What they're trying to do is just to make me subscribe to this manipulation that's degrading, to make me think, oh, I remember what you did when you were a child. And try to exaggerate the hands thing, but it's like what they exaggerated. But it's like, yeah, that's a proof that we're not manipulating you. And they send this childish trash, who are not unique in that. There's a lot of childish participants in this program. That's why this man killed a 15-year-old kid. She was a participant in this. He got tired of this manipulation. He killed her point blank. I gotta bring that up because I have to anchor in reality. Point blank, shoot her down. I gotta bring that up. And this clown's like, no, that's a proof that we're not manipulating you. And they're sending this trash. And really, this childlike individual, they know that their childishness is a key element in gaslighting me. They know my proof of what they do is known. They do this manipulation. They can make you have the stimulation sensation. They've been able to do that since 1961. To hear a little retard try to gaslight you. Utilizing her childishness to think it's going to stop that. Even after the fact they just killed, in 2022, they killed some trash that about her age. Let me just say, I don't even call it trash because I can never be for the killing of any child. But these people are no longer regular children. She thought that she could be just like, yeah, no, and try to make me identify with this nasty manipulation. That's so disgusting and degrading. And tell me, by the way, they tell me they're going to implant child porn, by the way. I close my eyes as soon as I see these children. This picture of like this like flashback, a picture of her when she was a children, and her family. These old pictures. She's somebody about my age at this point. I close my eyes immediately. And as I open my eyes a little bit, my eyes immediately is fixated in like the crouch area of one of this kid there. I was like, oh, and they make me imagine. I was like, oh God. Immediately. Now, I know in this program, they can do more than just manipulate your thought. They can manipulate your eyesight. Everything I say, they do that to others. What I love about this little retard is I'm not going to listen to trash who are just their sole job, clearly. And they don't know how. I think, let me just say this. All they do is clear that they try to gaslight you. Oh yeah, it's you. We'll watch, kill you. Yeah, you liar. Yeah, that's abuse. You see what? That's what they do. What I mean, but is saying that is, what do you think somebody who does that is supposed to be doing? Does it not sound like brainwashing type of tactics? Well, they want me to be doubtful when I see them. That I don't know they manipulate me this way. You know, even this thing of like making you see what they wanted to see. There's a woman called Mariana, which the word pedophilia type of torture is where I got it from. They do that all the time. But they send some of the most known, credible human shit you can imagine. Try to gaslight you. Who then wants me to subscribe to that? And then start talking about that's abuse, this little fuckers involved in the program that torture children. And wanting you to accept that disgusting manipulation they do use to push people into insanity. And think there's not going to be hate toward them. No. Okay. I'm not saying this empty threats. All I know is I know how to, when I see them, how to gauge them, I have to gauge them accordingly. They cannot make people have these disgusting experiences and walk around and think that people are going to subscribe to that. There's consequences. You make somebody lose their mind and you're around and you do this and you think, okay. And then you tell me go and plan child porn? And you want me to not subscribe to this? You want me to subscribe to this nasty manipulation? As I say nasty, they try to make me say something else. Okay. It's on you, huh? Know that I don't see you as a child anymore. But until my last breath, I will never internalize this and never identify with this. I'll know there'll be always people around me utilizing this technology to manipulate me in this degrading way, where I close my eyes because I'm scared to see these children. As I open my eyes is just manipulated to just go straight to the crotch of this child. And then it starts stimulating me, creating disgusting stimulations. Then sending the slow shit that's supposed to gaslight you into accepting this manipulation. Every day, if I have to say that 1,000,000 times, I will never internalize this disgusting manipulation for the life of all the women and children that have died and suffering this program. And are suffering this program. I will not even allow you to even play yourself as some kind of avenger. And for those men who ended up going as far as killing because they've been driven to that craziness, for them, I will not allow you to even think that you can do these things and there's nothing that can come from this. Never. Then to hear this clowns like, nah, that's fate. He just killed a 15-year-old. Fate, huh? That's fate. I've never seen somebody, this group has been so discredited in levels that's surreal. And I've been making sure I document that they do this. But in fact, what you're going to hear is the woman saying literally the same thing. That's fate, that everything I say can be backed up by somebody else saying the same thing. Well, this trash, like, nah, it's fate, remember what you did as a kid, this trash. This same woman talks about how she sees children being tortured sexually. In one testimonial, she destroys everything these clowns are supposed to brainwash you into identifying to. Then wanting you to see them as heroic little shit as they manipulate this way. I promise you. Listen, if these people continue, when these clowns want me to internalize this disgusting manipulation they force me to have, and think they can behave this way after I know that this trash are involved in what my brain is being manipulated to experience. And they think that they can override that with their behavior. It's like, yeah, no, it's fate. It's fate that you're involved in a program that rewires the brain this way, and they killed a 15-year-old that was part of something like that. Never. But I understand. That's what your job is. You're quote unquote this paid actor. They're not paid actors. But that's your job. I know your task. But you play your fictional things into this. In reality, it's up to you. But I know what I'm going to do. Sorry. I know what I have to do. And I know you abuse and torture the youngest of the youngest. And that's reality. Not your reality, which I'm so ready to collide with your fantasy anytime you come near me. In regard of how you want me to internalize this nasty manipulation, never gonna happen. But give me the chance to show you how. What I'm saying, and I'm talking to this purpose. They know that it's gonna be bad. They know. They know that the second they try to gaslight me in this way, try to make me internalize how they force my eyes to just and then give me stimulation and then send this little trash and say that I have reality. Okay. That's not how it works. You see the reality, she died. A 15-year-old killed point blank. You think I'm going to just let you live your little fantasy like that? Because you think your childishness have overrated reality. Okay. I promise you. And for this trash, like, yeah, that's abuse. Yeah. No. You're in the reality where you're out here protecting women and children. And you're not manipulating the brain, right? Trash. There's children involved in the program where children are being tortured. And women. This trash are the part of that. And they thought that their childishness could override the reality. They thought, really? I'm like, for me, I don't care about them. But all they're doing is they're agitating me to be more aggressive. That's it. And when we face each other, this trash will be remembered. I don't even know where it's going to go. I'm scared sometimes. There's a time when I used to ask God to give me strength to restrain myself. But I don't think at this need the restriction. I got to remove this restraint. I got to remove that. We face. Please come with this attitude, thinking that I think that you're just observing something, that you're not involved in manipulating or involved in something that manipulates the brain in this fashion. And you're just some observer, and you saw it through your phone because it's some observed natural experience. And to mess with me just for a second ago, as I was making this video, the picture that you're seeing when there's like an old little girl with a young, little girl, like even little girl. By the way, this is the adult woman that you're seeing there when they were kids. Some old picture. They will make me think, well, is this kid wearing Pampers? So I'm like, they even try to make me there was like a mental battle in my brain. It's like, this kid is wearing Pampers and he's still trying to make. And I was like, are they Pampers? And it's not. It's just like regular underwear for children. They start making me imagine the private part of this child, like an adult. And they're like, yeah, we proved it. It's like, I will never internalize this shit. Then you hear this trash, like, oh, I let a girls. Listen, this is why you're gonna hear this. I will never internalize these things. First of all, forcing me to look at the private parts so they can manipulate my brain in this degrading way. Then try to trick me. It's like, oh, but she's wearing Pampers. And I look close, like, are they Pampers? Because like you make me look at baby's Pampers to try to, and then it's just the regular underwear, and then make me imagine the private part. Ugh. Then you hear this clown try to gaslight me. It's like, okay. Talking with you, do not internalize the degrading, disgusting things that make you experience. That's part of it. And they tell me, no, they proved they don't do this. I'll never let them live their fantasy. This is why you're gonna hear this man talk about why he killed a 15-year-old kid. That's why you hear this man here talk about how he's being disgusted by the thought that I'm playing in his brain. You're gonna hear this woman talk about the pedophilia type of torture. And talk about how they can make her see, like make her look where they want her to look. They've done that many times. For me, they did that just to disturb me. And then once they did that, I was like, oh, but she's wearing Pampers. And I'm like, are they Pampers? And I'm looking, it's not Pampers, it's actually underwears of like, and then making me imagine the private part. And then using these clowns around you. They're supposed to gaslight you into like internalizing these things. And everything is intertwined and timed. So you feel guilty for how they manipulate your brain. Everything has been validated. And every time they try to make you subscribe to that, because you're gonna hear the obviousness. It's scary how obvious things are. Because everything's gonna be backed up. Even the torture of children, by the way. You're gonna hear that. And these people, in this video, they call paid actors. They're not paid actors in a sense, they're actors. But they just participate and supposed to act to make me subscribe to this. Everything's been validated. Everything. That they manipulate the brain in these disgusting ways. A man killed a 15-year-old kid. That's how, and you're gonna hear that. They do this pedophilia type of torture. And they have this teenage trash participate in that. Tell me that we proved it. Trash. I will never internalize this. For this teenage trash wanting to gaslight me, if you do that close to me, if it's not remotely, you'll see what happens.
Etc. They threaten to hurt my family. They threaten to make me lose all my money. They frequently threaten to do more extreme torture, etc. The voices also frequently tell me to commit suicide, something that is simply out of the question for me. Just the threatening alone is done at extreme levels and is its own form of torture. They coordinate the voices and thought manipulation with the physical torture, so that everything is highly synchronized in real time. They can see everything in my environment before I can, and if something is hidden out of my sight, they can tell me where it is, if they want me to see it. Likewise, they can also make me not see something that is right in front of my face.
Thought insertion, memory manipulation, memory insertion. You feel like your mind and your thought insertion, memory manipulation, memory insertion. You feel like your mind and your body is not yours, it's just being controlled by some asshole. Your emotions, everything, and you would see that, street theater, noise campaigns, Voice to Skull, they do a pretty good job of intertwining everything. But to an outsider's point of view, they're just gonna see you as fucking crazy. But I'm here to tell you it's happening. And this program is a slow death torture program. Why are we on this program? I still don't know. I have no idea. A lot of smear campaigns. And I'm losing my train of thought right now because I'm just so. You start telling your story to people or whatever, they're not gonna believe you. It's either they're gonna gaslight you or whatever. It's and I'm losing my train of thought right now because I'm just so freaking sleep deprived. I'm probably gonna make more videos, but no, I'm not. I mean, I'm gonna see how it goes with my fiance, and you know, I'll keep you guys posted. And I'm looking for employment in it, but it's so hard to find employment right now. So hard to find a job. And if you do get a job, they mob you. Workplace mobbing, it's common. I know that it's hard to get a job, but once you get a job, you get mobbed. And the problem is, it's so sophisticated that you start telling your story to people. You do the same shit over and over. You know, whatever accomplishment. I'm just going on tangents right now. I have no clear outline. All I know is that I gotta make this video. I gotta send it out because I've been waiting for the right moment to make a video on this topic. But there's never gonna be a right moment. You know. Yeah. All I can say that whoever organization is behind this, or whatever criminal governmental organization, it's very, very uniform. Every country you go to, it's the same tactics. That's all I can say. It's very uniform. It's the same tactics everywhere you go. You know, whatever country you go to, you do the same shit over and over. Whatever accomplishments you have, they'll try and discredit you at everything. Humiliation too. Humiliation. Rituals, whatever. Embarrassment. I have no idea why they do what they do. It's just whatever. And these thoughts, these fucking disgusting ass thoughts. And if you're a target individual, you know what I'm talking about these thoughts that are being fucking inserted into your head. It's disgusting. And it's horrible. I don't know. I have nothing else to say. Probably when I
experience what is referred to as malodorance. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the
I could not have asked for a better family. What you cannot comprehend is that we have been attacked by this weapon our entire lives, and the attack against me personally is one of the most vicious attacks a human being has ever faced. I have tolerated the most inhumane torture in hopes that the FBI and CIA would come to my defense, but they have failed to come to my aid. My only hope is that you come to understand what has happened here. When the world realizes what has happened, there will be justice, but I cannot sit by and be a victim any longer, and I refuse to sit by and do nothing while my nieces and nephews and the rest of my family are operated on with mind control. Our thoughts are not private. It is disgusting and it is cruel. I will be launching the first counterattack against mind control in human history. I want to be very clear, this will not be an active shooting event. I will be executing some of the people responsible for activating shooters. If I happen to survive, please visit me in prison, if only to see the same man you have always known, rather than the victim of some mental disorder that does not exist. What you may not understand is that I will gladly die to expose this, and I will gladly die to help one other victim discover the truth of what has happened. If I can help another targeted individual fight back against telepathy, then the sacrifice will be well worth it. To any TIs who read this, understand that your attackers use the form of ventriloquism I describe in the paper to move your thoughts, but your thoughts can also move their mouths. To my friends in Chicago, Lexington, Dayton, and all over the world, get this email out to everyone you know. The most horrific weapon ever made is being used on human beings, And if you ever learn the truth, you will understand what I did here to protect myself and my family. Get this out to other TIs, other voice hearers, so the world has a chance to fight back. To my family, especially my nieces and nephews, I want you to understand that what I do here, I do for your future, and hope that you can live a life free of mind control. I love you guys.
Who is charged with a quadruple homicide in Butler Township, Ohio, that you can pull for your writing analysis. Key delusional beliefs. He believed he was a targeted I can't give you the full manifesto itself, but I can walk you through what's in it and what kinds of delusions it shows. Here's a structured summary based on court-described excerpts and reporting. Number 1. Overall context. Stephen Marlowe is accused of a quadruple homicide in Butler Township, Ohio, August 2022. In the months before the shootings, he wrote a long manifesto describing what he believed was happening to him mentally and spiritually. And the Dayton Daily Lash News. Psychologists and the court treat this manifesto as evidence of entrenched delusional beliefs, not of anything real. Number 2. Core delusional themes. A. Global terror network and targeted individual. In the manifesto, he claims he is the victim of a global terror network that attacks people using advanced psychological telepathic methods. Dayton Daily News. Key elements of that belief. He sees himself as a targeted individual, someone singled out for mind control abuse. X, formerly Twitter, ordinary people around him, neighbours, possibly co-workers, etc., are reinterpreted as part of this network. B. Telepathic ventriloquism. This is the phrase you picked up on. In the manifesto and related descriptions, he says attackers use telepathic ventriloquism to project voices and thoughts into his mind. Dayton Daily News. He believes his thoughts are not private. Others can speak through him, like a ventriloquist using a dummy. The voices can manipulate his emotions, impulses, and decisions. This fits clinical patterns of thought insertion, belief that thoughts are being put into your mind by an outside force, auditory hallucinations reframed as telepathy, delusions of control, believing one's actions or feelings are being controlled by others. C. Neighbours as sleeper agents. He fixates on people near his parents' home. He claims that some neighbours are part of the terror network and effectively sleeper agents used to harass or attack him telepathically. Dayton Daily News. The victims of the shooting, who had no normal conflict-type relationship with him, get cast in his mind as key perpetrators in this invisible conspiracy. The stream of abuse and psychological impact. He describes his experience as a constant, inescapable stream of verbal and emotional abuse through the voices. He writes that it is impossible to just ignore the voices and that there is no defense, no stopping it. Dayton Daily News. He links this to the collapse of his trading career, ruined relationships, Here's a summary of the known facts about how Stephen Marlowe allegedly carried out the killings of the victims, as publicly reported. Some details remain unclear or under investigation. What we do know, the incident occurred on August 5th, 2022 in the Butler Township near Dayton, Ohio. Dayton door victims were Sarah Anderson, age 41, Dayton Daily News. Her daughter, Kayla Anderson, age 15, Dayton Daily News. Clyde Knox, age 82, Dayton Daily News. His wife, Sally Knox, 78, Dayton Daily News. Marlowe lived nearby with his parents on Haverstraw Avenue, and the victims were his neighbours. Dayton Daily News. Police found the victims fatally shot at multiple crime scenes in a residential area. ABC News. In video evidence introduced in court, one scene shows Marlowe walking up with a gun in his hand towards Sarah Anderson, who was on the phone, then shooting her. He walked into the home where Kayla Anderson was and shot her. He then exited via the garage and fired a second shot at Sarah while she was on the ground. WIO TV7 and W8YO Radio. After the shootings, Marlowe fled the state. He was later captured in Kansas.
Follow them on highways, grocery stores, their workplace, and every facet of their lives. Paid actors have a clear agenda to manipulate coincidence, to make follow them on highways, grocery stores, their workplace, and every facet of their lives. Paid actors have a clear agenda to manipulate coincidence, to make the mundane feel malicious. Grocery stores, their work, and their home is bugged with listening and recording devices. TIs are not only monitored, but tortured by paid actors that follow them on highways, grocery stores, their workplace, and every facet of their lives. Paid actors have a clear agenda to manipulate coincidence, to make the mundane feel malicious. And the goal is simple: provoke a reaction. It's often subtle.
Ms. Catherine Nestor.
My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutmann to begin today.
I am currently a speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic, and they used her to threaten the most torture in me as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions. I observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. And then he made a frightening grimace of severe
and have had a decent education. I live in El Dorado Hills, California, with my wife of 14 years, Lorna, and our 5 children. Nicole is 15, Patricia 14, Christopher 13, Dylan 9, and Avery 16 months old. Not only have I been going through this, but my entire family has suffered right by my side. We have all experienced the same type of harassment on different levels. We have all suffered the same symptoms while this harassment was going on. Some of our physical symptoms include severe tooth decay and vision loss, unexplained rashes and burns, severe headaches, mood swings, anxiety, thyroid problems, high blood pressure, heart problems, vision loss, and cancer. Two of my children were born premature, which I attribute to this. Our son Dylan, now age 9, was born very premature. He was born at 31 weeks. During her pregnancy with Dylan, we were being targeted more so than other times. At the delivery, there were weird men walking and waiting around the hospital. Right outside our delivery room window, there was a white cargo van parked with 2 suspicious men inside. They were there the entire labor, a delivery. Our son had to be transported to another hospital 45 minutes away. When arriving to the Toa hospital, those same men and van were present. Three of my children have severe rashes that have not been explained by several doctors. These rashes have been present for several years at a time. If interested, I will gladly furnish you with detailed photos of the rashes. Our infant daughter, at 3 weeks old, was diagnosed with Lerner syndrome. This was after a severe rash appeared on her body after a few days of torture. We were told by a couple doctors to take her home and love her and spend the rest of the time we have with her. They told us she would ultimately die from this syndrome. Thank God that Lerner syndrome was not what affected our daughter. Doctors are still dumbfounded by her rash and symptoms. Sadly, we know that her symptoms were effects from the torture this poor innocent 3-week-old baby endured.
Why?
Was a mentally unstable individual.
This shotgun is the primary murder weapon. On it, he etched a number of carvings, including "End to the Torment," "Better Off This Way," and "My ELF Weapon." Alexis had been hearing voices and believed he was being bombarded by microwaves, something naval authorities knew about.
There are multiple indicators that Alexis held a delusional belief that he was being controlled or influenced by extremely low frequency, or ELF, electromagnetic waves.
And in his computer files, the FBI found this.
A document retrieved from the electronic media stated, quote, "Ultra-low frequency attack is what I've been subject to for the last 3 months. And to be perfectly honest, that is what has driven me to this."
And so on what should have been a routine day, Alexis killed 12 people: mothers, fathers, sons, daughters.
Diane, they never had a chance, and still no answers as to why so many red flags were missed.
They threatened to hurt my family. They threatened to make me lose all my money. They frequently threatened to do more extreme torture, etc. The voices also frequently tell me to commit suicide, something that is simply out of the question for me. Just the threatening alone is done at extreme levels and is its own form of torture. They coordinate the voices and thought manipulation with the physical torture, so that everything is highly synchronized in real time. They can see everything in my environment before I can, and if something is hidden out of my sight, they can tell me where it is, if they want me to see it. Likewise, they can also make me not see something that is right in front of my face.